Good Monday morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with this daily technical update. It is the 10th of February and in this educational video there's no recommendation or advice whatsoever intended during this. In this educational video I will look at various interesting instruments and assets, and today we'll start with Google or Alphabet C share. That has broken below its lower rising trend line in this channel, a slightly rising channel-like pattern here, and is now below 55 moving average, is in the cloud. If it breaks down and closes below around 183 and RSI is closing below 40 threshold, we are in a bearish trend and could push lower. And just very quickly on the weekly, we see it had a bad week last week, especially after earnings, and the uptrend has been stretched a little bit, so it could be a top and reversal for it. But look out for that level around 183. On the S&P 500 index, Friday, excuse me, Friday was a down day, almost 1% lower. So it's quite interesting. We have this move up here and then setback, move up here, setback, and then move up here and maybe a setback again. But still we have a little bit of support here at 5,937, but key is 5,900. And we are still working under this bullish engulfing here we had a few weeks ago, mid-January. That is key towards, and we are still in a bullish trend. However, falling RSI values indicating a stretched or trend or exhaustion of the trend. Pre-market we are a little bit. Same picture on Nasdaq, more or less. All setback up again, and now have this bearish engulfing here, but still above the cloud, still above 20,974. Still positive sentiment on the RSI. No divergence. Could push higher, but let's see. Weekly, we can also see that, well, we are stretched, uptrend exhaustion, but still trust the trend. So let's see what is playing out of the next few days. Dow Jones didn't form a top and reversal in this bearish engulfing here. Well, for now it has not been demolished, so it's still in play. So more or less the same picture really, but there's no divergence on the uptrend. So let's see here the coming week if any new earnings can change the little bit lukewarm picture. On the European front, well, we have EuroStoxx50 pushing higher. But Friday, a little bit of a setback here. Pre-market, we are a little bit up again. As you can see here, RSI divergence. So if I add a trend line, you will see that the RSI values are declining. Market moved higher, so we have a little bit of divergence, imbalance in market. So it is a little bit of a stretch situation going on here. So let's see what's going to happen this week here. But we are still in a bullish trend, and we remain so at least until it breaks below 5,120. It doesn't mean we could see some couldn't see some corrections, and I think this week could see some correction. We're a little bit higher here pre-market, trying to push higher, and there is still room up further for EuroStoxx50. DAX has been very strong lately also, but you can see here RSI values declining, indicating an exhaustion of the trend. 21,250 key support to look out for. A break below that, then we could see a larger correction. So watch out for that. Pre-market we are a little bit about 0.25% higher indicated, but still not a new high. But we could see that again around 21,077 here on the GER40 CFD. Euro dollar. And now we are talking FX here for a little bit. Euro dollar supported 102.70. Break below that, then we will see the downtrend to resume, and also RSI, if it closes back below 40 threshold, it will most likely do that if it moves back below 102.70, and then we have downtrend to resume. Let's zoom out a little bit, with a potential down to par or 1 here. We could see that especially if it breaks below this trend line there. It is not that strong anyway, this trend line, so let's see. The sterling dollar, or cable as we say, 123.60 support currently being tested, or has been tested this morning here, just a few pips above it. If it breaks below, well, then we could see a push below 122.5 and lower, and to the upside 125.50 is the breakout level. The euro sterling, as we talked about last week, is probably going to move around 83.50, 83 level. If it breaks back above 84, then I think we'll see a push higher. But RSI is currently a little bit negative and could push lower here. And in the bigger picture on the weekly, we can see, well, we are still in a quite a bullish, bearish trend. Let's remove this one. And could push lower. So let's see, it really needs to break above 85 area, above this falling trend line, to just have a chance to turn this bearish medium-term picture around. Moving on to yen pairs, and starting with dollar yen. Could it form a bottom and reversal pattern? We had a negative candle there Thursday. Friday was doji. Market was a little bit indecisive. If we get a bullish one here, then we could see a bounce. But I don't think the bounce will be long-lived, possibly up to 154, 155 maybe. Then you have the 55 moving average coming down. And currently we are below the 200 moving average and negative sentiment. But I think we could see a bounce from these 786 retracement here on 50, 83 and a little bit. But really to establish new bullish trend, well, then it needs to get back above, and let's just add a horizontal line. I think we need to get back above 156 free, and I would add a Fibonacci there just to also get an indication of where we could move to. See, it's very close around the, which is not unsurprising, 61.8 retracement, could push up to 153, 154 area in this here before we see downtrend resume. So keep an eye on this level. If it takes out the lows, then we will continue lower. Also, euro yen bouncing this morning after dipping below 156, and I think we could also here, and this is what you can do yourself on your charts, add a Fibonacci to that and say, okay, maybe we could see a bounce up to the 38.2 at 158.83. If it takes out the lows here from this morning, well, then we are looking at much lower levels, as you can see, down to around 153.30 level. The Aussie yen, also bouncing this morning here. It was not around any support, but we are around these lows here back from September last year, where buyers are coming in. We could see some quite a volatility, dipping below, then bouncing and dipping low again. And we could also see that here with Aussie yen. We are in a bearish trend also medium term, so we could see quite a bit volatility where it suddenly dips to the 93.65 area. It is not unlikely, I would say, but a little bit uncertain. Sterling yen, well, we are in the region here of the December lows, but we are in a bearish trend, and there is potential down to around 184, 183.70. But you see open lower and trying to push higher a little bit here. Negative sentiment. I don't think there's any divergence. We could see a bounce here towards 190, but trend is bearish. You can also see that all moving averages are declining now, so they are pushing it lower. The Aussie dollar had a nice bounce about a week ago, but couldn't follow through, being rejected here at the cloud, and the 55 moving average that is coming down. RSI has been rejected at the 60 threshold. So let's see here the next couple of days. If it starts taking out 62 once again, then I think it will slide lower. And on the bigger picture, we can see it is in this region around the 61 and 63 area. There's a lot of volatility, can't really make up its mind. There's a lot of fight going on between bulls and bears. So it needs to get back above 63, 30, 35 to establish a bullish trend. On the dollar Canada, well, bouncing from the 142, 60, 70 support area, still above the cloud, still positive sentiment on the RSI. I'll adjust this trend line here a bit. there we are. If we can get RSI back above 60 threshold and back above this falling trend line, then I think we'll see a push higher. We could at least here short term see it to 144.70. Sterling Canada extremely volatile this morning. Well, not volatile because it actually started low and then buyers just came in and lifted it. And it was a little bit weird. It didn't get all the way down to the 786 retracement at 176.18, but it didn't. RSI bounced from the 40 threshold at the moment, at least. If we get back above the 179, then I think uptrend could push it higher. If it takes out the lows today, well, then we are looking at region levels around 175, 174 and a half. Sterling Canada is for sure one of the most volatile pairs we have, or crosses we have, so be really careful if you are trading it. EuroSwiss, well, still above the cloud, still above key support here at 93.30. RSI still positive sentiment and no divergence. If it starts moving back above 94.50, then I think we could see resuming uptrend, especially if we get the RSI back above 60 threshold. And I think we could see a push up to 95.5, 96 level. If it takes out this support here, 93.30, well, then we have established a bearish trend. Dollar Swiss is trying to get back above the 91.15 resistance area here once again, and that is seems to be a little bit of a struggle. If it can pull through, well, then it could test these peaks here around just above 92. And if it takes out the lows there, that red candle there at 90, well, then we can see it drop down to around 89. Dollar index, almost similar. Still above the cloud, bounced from around the 786 retracement. RSI still positive. If it moves back above 60 threshold, well, then we could see it push higher. And next one is at the 61.8 retracement, 108.76. If it takes out that, which it could, well, then we could revisit the previous peaks here just below 110. On to gold and commodities. We have gold pushing higher and currently almost touching the 2900. And from this triangle-like pattern here, after a breakout, we indicated that we could see it up to 29.30, 32, and I think we are moving in that direction here. Also on weekly, we'll see how bullish is. Really strong move on gold at the moment, and I think we'll reach that level fairly shortly. The silver is struggling a little bit. Got rejected here at 32.35. Got rejected there, but could have another go today. And if it takes out the peak there from Friday at 32.65, well, then we could see it pushing towards 34. But it's lagging a little bit, not so convincing. But as you can see here, all moving averages are rising. We are above the cloud, positive sentiment on the RSI. Well, then we are likely to see silver also trading higher. Copper, always keep an eye on copper, what's going on. Had a massive day here on the 7th of February, Friday. Some resistance here at 466, 470. I think we will reach that. A little bit stressed short term, but if we are looking at the weekly chart, I'm quite bullish on copper because of this. If it takes out these levels here, and I can't see reason why. We are back above on the weekly, on the 60 threshold, never went below 60 threshold, 40 threshold, so never went into bearish territory. And if we can get back above here, and also, and let's just add that one also, that would further confirm it 479. Well, you will have a new all-time high in copper, or a new high in copper at least. So that's really something to keep an eye on. Oil, and let's find the daily chart because that's where the interesting stuff is going on. We have the 786 retracement here at just around $71. Seems to be that's where the action is, fight is in going on at the moment. We are short term in a bearish trend, negative RSI, but it could bounce from here. We're still above the cloud actually. If we move back above the 55 moving average, well, then we could see a push up to around at a 200 moving average, up to around $75 here on WTI. If it takes out the lows here from last week, then, well, maybe we're looking at 68. But in the bigger picture, if we're looking at the weekly chart, and it's always good thing to do that, if we have a new week, well, we are still, we got rejected there back a few weeks ago, so we are still range bound here around $70 on WTI. Brent crude oil, more or less the same picture. You can see how it bounced from the 786 retracement at 74.25, and if it moves back above 76, 74.25, if it moves back above 76, then we could see a stronger bounce higher, so keep an eye on that. Dutch TTF gas, on the other hand, opening much higher today, and that is really something to, that's a little bit of an eye-opener. You can see we are actually above the 2023 peak, which was a 56.79, and if it can stay up there and not close this gap here that it created this morning, well, then there is potential higher to 68 or 70 euro level. So really, it's gonna hurt the European consumers quite bad, and the industries, of course. Henry Hub is in bouncing mode. I think we are looking at 350 fairly shortly. Could push higher towards 365, maybe even 381. If it takes out 297, sorry, then we are resuming bearish. US 10-year Treasury yield, there we have this shoulder pattern we talked about for quite some time. We broke below the key support at 450 and the neckline bounced, and we didn't get all the way down to the 438 level here, which was 61.8 of this uptrend here, and 138.2 projection of the head to the neckline. So that's maybe a strong signal. We peaked just above 450, but if we can get a close back above 450, maybe the shoulder pattern is about to be challenged quite a bit, and we can actually also add that trend line a little just to give an idea what's going on. If it starts breaking above that, well, then it could resume uptrend. And if it takes out, and let's just add that trend line 2 or horizontal line, if it starts taking out 460, well, then it has established a bullish trend. We're still above the cloud, but there's negative sentiment on the RSI. So let's see if it moves back above 60 threshold, well, then it will confirm bullish trend. So keep an eye on that. If it takes out the lows here from last week at 440, well, then we could see a push down to around 430. The 2-year, maybe it is a little bit a warning to that, because it's very close to test the 430 resistance, close above that, and close above 60 threshold on the RSI. Well, then we are back in a bullish trend with a potential up to 450. And for now, positive sentiment still on the RSI, indicating we could see that playing out. So moving on to the European yields, and the Euro 10-year seems to find support here around the 55 moving average, just around the 235, and the 786 retracement, a lot of volatility going out, and as long as it stays above 231, then it could bounce, and if it starts moving back above 245, I think we will see it resuming uptrend. The UK 10-year, excuse me, UK 10-year also bounces just above the 786 retracement 435. If it starts moving back above 460, uptrend has resumed. Crypto, Bitcoin, sideways over the weekend. Not really anything going on at all, but we are below the 55 moving average with the pressure down to the 91 level. If it takes out 90, well, then I expect further selling down to the 80 level, possibly lower. So it seems like it's in a way the C game at the moment, forming a little bit of a bearish correction here. If it starts moving back above the 103 again, well, then we could see uptrend resuming, but it's not very convincing, and there's no clear signal, unfortunately. Ethereum also sideways here the past few days, just above 2600, dipping a little bit low. So there seems to be some solid ground, not solid ground, but some ground here where it's trying to build a foundation, and if it starts to move back about 2,800, then we could look at 3,000. But again, no clear picture other than we are in a bearish trend. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and talk to you later.